Imagine flying through clear blue skies over the Atlantic Ocean. The sun is shining, your instruments are working, your crew is calm. And then, suddenly, your compass begins to spin wildly. The radio fills with static. Navigation systems stop making sense. Below you is nothing but endless ocean. Moments later, your aircraft disappears. No distress signal, no wreckage, no survivors, just silence. This is the terrifying mystery that has haunted pilots, sailors, and scientists for more than a century. A place where ships vanish, planes disappear, and sometimes the ocean itself seems to swallow evidence. This place is known as the Bermuda Triangle, a region of oceans stretching between Florida, Bermuda, and Puerto Rico, covering more than 500,000 square miles of the Atlantic Ocean. Over the decades, it has been blamed for the disappearances of dozens of ships, airplanes, and thousands of people. Some believe it's caused by magnetic anomalies. Others blame dangerous methane gas eruptions from the seafloor. And then there are those who believe something far stranger is happening: alien activity, time warps, or even an ancient lost civilization beneath the sea. But what is the truth? Is the Bermuda Triangle really one of the most dangerous places on Earth? Or is the mystery hiding a scientific explanation we simply didn't understand before? Tonight on Science Uncovered, we dive deep into one of the most famous mysteries in modern history: the Bermuda Triangle. The Bermuda Triangle is not officially recognized on any map. You won't find it labeled by governments or international maritime organizations. But the area most commonly associated with the mystery forms a triangle between 3 points: Miami, Florida, the island of Bermuda, and San Juan, Puerto Rico. Together, these points create one of the busiest shipping and aviation routes in the world. Every day, thousands of cargo ships, cruise liners, and airplanes pass through this region, which makes the stories of disappearing vessels even more chilling. Because when something vanishes here, it often vanishes without a trace. No wreckage, no emergency signals, no explanation, just another mystery added to the legend. The Bermuda Triangle didn't become famous overnight. Its strange reputation grew slowly over centuries. One of the earliest reports dates back to 1492, when the explorer Christopher Columbus sailed across the Atlantic Ocean. During his voyage to the New World, Columbus recorded something strange in his ship's logbook. His compass suddenly began behaving oddly. Instead of pointing steadily north, the needle started drifting. At the time, sailors relied entirely on compasses for navigation. A malfunction like this was terrifying. But that wasn't the only strange thing Columbus reported. One night, his crew saw a mysterious light rising and falling on the distant horizon. It looked like a glowing flame, moving above the water. Some historians believe it could have been a meteor. Others believe it was something else entirely. Whatever it was, it became one of the earliest recorded mysteries of the region that would later become known as the Bermuda Triangle. One of the most shocking Bermuda Triangle disappearances happened in 1918. A massive United States Navy cargo ship called USS Cyclops was sailing through the Atlantic. The ship was enormous, more than 540 feet long, carrying 309 crew members and passengers. At the time, it was one of the largest ships in the U.S. Navy. The Cyclops was transporting 10,000 tons of manganese ore used for making steel. Its route would take it straight through the Bermuda Triangle region, but it never arrived. The ship disappeared without sending a single distress signal. Search ships combed thousands of miles of ocean. Nothing was found. No wreckage, no lifeboats, no debris. Even today, more than a century later, the disappearance of the USS Cyclops remains the largest loss of life in U.S. naval history, not caused by combat. And it's still completely unsolved. For decades, strange stories continue to circulate about the region. But the Bermuda Triangle truly became world famous after a terrifying event in 1945. 5 U.S. Navy training planes took off from a base in Florida for a routine navigation mission. The flight was known as Flight 19. 5 aircraft, 14 experienced pilots and crew members. The weather was clear, the mission should have been simple, but soon after takeoff, something went wrong. The flight leader radioed the base with a disturbing message. His compass had stopped working. Then another message came through. Everything looked strange, even the ocean. The pilots were completely disoriented. They believed they were flying over the Florida Keys, but in reality, they were far out in the Atlantic. As the hours passed, fuel began running low. Ground control desperately tried to guide the planes home, but the pilots couldn't find land. Then came the final transmission. We're entering whitewater. Nothing seems right. We don't know where we are. And then, silence. All 5 aircraft disappeared. But the mystery didn't end there. A rescue plane sent to search for them also vanished. 27 people lost, 0 wreckage found. The legend of the Bermuda Triangle had officially begun. After Flight 19, stories of strange disappearances exploded across newspapers and magazines. Ships found abandoned, planes disappearing mid-flight, entire crews vanishing without explanation. One of the strangest cases happened in 1948 when a passenger aircraft called Douglas DC-3 NC-16002 vanished during a flight from Puerto Rico to Florida. The aircraft carried 32 people. Just before arriving in Miami, the pilot contacted the control tower. Everything seemed normal. Weather conditions were clear, visibility was excellent. But the plane never arrived. No distress call, no crash site, no trace. It simply disappeared somewhere over the ocean. And to this day, the mystery remains unsolved. As more disappearances were reported, scientists and researchers began searching for explanations. Some believed the Bermuda Triangle was a region of powerful magnetic disturbances. Others believed dangerous underwater gas eruptions could suddenly sink ships. And some theories became far more mysterious. Stories began circulating about alien spacecraft operating beneath the ocean. Others claimed the triangle might contain portals to other dimensions. Some even believed the lost city of Atlantis was hidden somewhere beneath the waters of the Atlantic, and that its ancient technology might be interfering with navigation systems. But were any of these theories actually true? Or was the truth hiding in something far more scientific? To understand the real mystery of the Bermuda Triangle, we have to dive deeper, much deeper. Because beneath the waves of the Atlantic Ocean, scientists have discovered something that might explain why ships and planes can vanish so suddenly. And it all begins on the ocean floor. The disappearance of the passenger aircraft Douglas DC-3 NC-16002 was one of the final events that pushed the Bermuda Triangle into global headlines. By the late 1940s, the stories had begun to pile up. Ships gone without warning, aircraft vanishing in clear skies, entire crews disappearing without leaving behind a single trace. To many people, it seemed impossible. How could so many vessels vanish in the same region of ocean? And why was there almost never any wreckage? No debris, no bodies, no signals. Just an empty ocean and unanswered questions. Newspapers began calling the region a graveyard of the Atlantic, and soon the mystery would gain a name that would capture the imagination of the entire world: the Bermuda Triangle. Interestingly, the Bermuda Triangle wasn't widely known until the 1950s. In 1950, journalist Edward Van Winkle Jones published an article describing mysterious ship disappearances in the Atlantic. But it was another writer who truly turned the mystery into a global phenomenon. In 1964, author Vincent Gaddis published a story in Argosy magazine that gave the region its now famous name: the Bermuda Triangle. The phrase immediately captured public attention. Soon, books, magazines, and television programs began exploring the mysterious disappearances. Each new story seemed more unbelievable than the last. Some reports described ships found completely abandoned, meals still sitting on tables, cargo untouched, but no crew anywhere. Other reports described aircraft that vanished from radar screens in seconds, pilots reporting strange lights, compasses spinning wildly, or instruments behaving in ways pilots had never seen before. To many people, the mystery felt almost supernatural, and that's when the theories began. One of the most popular ideas was that extraterrestrials might somehow be involved. The theory suggested that alien spacecraft hidden beneath the ocean were responsible for the strange disappearances. According to believers, UFOs could be abducting ships and airplanes. Some even claimed the Bermuda Triangle was a hidden base for alien technology. Stories began circulating about strange lights emerging from the ocean. Pilots reported seeing glowing objects in the sky, and mysterious underwater structures were rumored to exist deep beneath the Atlantic. But despite decades of speculation, no credible scientific evidence has ever supported the alien theory. Still, the idea captured the imagination of millions, because sometimes the unknown can be more fascinating than the truth.
Another popular explanation involves one of history's greatest myths, the lost city of Atlantis. According to ancient stories, Atlantis was an advanced civilization that existed thousands of years ago, before mysteriously disappearing beneath the ocean. Some believers claim that Atlantis lies somewhere beneath the waters of the Bermuda Triangle, and that remnants of its advanced technology might still be operating today, interfering with navigation systems, disrupting compasses, and creating strange energy fields that confuse ships and aircraft. But like the alien theory, there is no scientific evidence that Atlantis ever existed. The story of Atlantis actually comes from the writings of the Greek philosopher Plato, who described it more than 2,300 years ago. Most historians now believe it was simply a philosophical story, not a real place. Still, the legend continues to fuel the mystery. By the 1970s, scientists had begun to take a serious look at the Bermuda Triangle. Instead of supernatural explanations, researchers started asking a more practical question: could natural forces explain the disappearances? The Atlantic Ocean is one of the most powerful environments on Earth. It is home to massive storms, unpredictable weather, and some of the strongest ocean currents in the world. And the Bermuda Triangle sits directly in the path of many of them. One of the most powerful forces in this region is the Gulf Stream. The Gulf Stream is a massive ocean current that flows from the Gulf of Mexico up the eastern coast of the United States before crossing the Atlantic. This current moves incredibly fast, sometimes reaching speeds of more than 5 miles per hour. That might not sound very fast, but in the open ocean, it can carry debris thousands of miles in a very short amount of time, which means that if a ship or plane crashes in the Bermuda Triangle, the evidence could quickly be swept far away from the accident site, making the mystery even harder to solve. Another possible explanation lies in one of the ocean's most terrifying natural phenomena: rogue waves. These are enormous waves that appear suddenly in open water, often without warning. For centuries, sailors reported seeing waves more than 100 feet tall, rising out of seemingly calm seas. But for a long time, scientists believed these stories were exaggerated. That changed in 1995. A giant wave measuring more than 80 feet high was officially recorded by instruments in the North Sea, proving that rogue waves are very real, and the Atlantic Ocean is one of the places where they occur most frequently. A wave that large could easily destroy a ship in seconds, leaving almost no debris behind, especially in deep ocean waters. Another theory comes from deep beneath the ocean floor. Scientists have discovered that large pockets of methane gas exist trapped in sediments below parts of the Atlantic seabed.
Under certain conditions, these gas pockets can suddenly erupt, sending huge bubbles of methane toward the ocean's surface. If a ship happens to be above such an eruption, the water beneath it could suddenly lose density. In simple terms, the ship would lose the buoyancy that keeps it afloat, and it could sink extremely quickly, possibly within minutes. Even aircraft flying low over the ocean could be affected. Large methane gas releases might interfere with engines or cause sudden turbulence. Though this theory remains debated, it shows that natural geological forces could play a role. Another explanation involves navigation systems. The Bermuda Triangle lies in a region where the difference between true north and magnetic north can sometimes behave in unusual ways. In most parts of the world, compasses point toward magnetic north, which is slightly different from true north. But in some areas of the Atlantic, the two directions briefly align. This can confuse navigation systems if pilots or sailors are not aware of the difference. Small navigation errors can quickly become dangerous when flying over open ocean where there are few visual landmarks. Even experienced pilots can become disoriented, especially in bad weather. Today, most scientists agree that the Bermuda Triangle is not actually more dangerous than other parts of the ocean. Millions of ships and aircraft travel through the region every year without any problems, and many of the famous disappearances have later been explained by storms, mechanical failures, or human error. Still, the legend remains powerful, because the ocean is vast and there are still places on Earth where mysteries remain unsolved. The Bermuda Triangle may not be a supernatural portal or an alien gateway, but it reminds us of something important. Even in the modern world, there are still parts of our planet that we do not fully understand. And sometimes, the greatest mysteries are not created by monsters or myths, but by the incredible power of nature itself. Despite the countless theories and decades of speculation, the truth about the Bermuda Triangle may be far less mysterious than many people imagine. Over the past several decades, scientists, oceanographers, aviation experts, and historians have examined nearly every famous case connected to the triangle, and what they discovered was surprising. Many of the stories that helped build the legend were either exaggerated, misunderstood, or simply misreported. Some ships that were said to have vanished without a trace were later found to have sunk during powerful storms. Others had mechanical failures that prevented distress calls from being sent. In several cases, the vessels weren't even in the Bermuda Triangle when they disappeared. But over time, their stories became connected to the legend anyway. The same is true for many aircraft disappearances. Early aviation technology was far less reliable than what we have today. Navigation systems were basic, weather forecasting was limited, and communication equipment was often unreliable, especially over long distances. A small mistake in navigation could easily send an aircraft hundreds of miles off course. And over the open ocean, where there are no landmarks and very few visual references, even experienced pilots could become disoriented. In fact, aviation experts believe that spatial disorientation has played a role in many aviation accidents around the world. When a pilot loses visual reference with the horizon, the brain can misinterpret motion and direction. This can lead to dangerous flying decisions without the pilot even realizing something is wrong. Over water, this effect becomes even more powerful. The endless blue surface of the ocean can make it extremely difficult to judge altitude, speed, and direction, especially at night, or in fog, or during storms. And the Bermuda Triangle region is known for producing some of the most unpredictable weather patterns in the Atlantic. Sudden storms, rapidly forming cloud systems, and powerful winds, all of which can create extremely dangerous flying and sailing conditions. Another factor that researchers often point to is the sheer volume of traffic that passes through the region. The Bermuda Triangle lies between major ports and travel routes connecting North America, the Caribbean, and Europe. Every year, tens of thousands of ships and aircraft cross this region of the Atlantic. With that much traffic, Accidents are statistically more likely to happen there, simply because of the number of vessels passing through. But when those accidents occur in a place already surrounded by mystery, people naturally begin searching for extraordinary explanations. And that's where the power of storytelling comes in. Human beings are naturally drawn to mysteries. We love unexplained events, strange disappearances, and stories that challenge our understanding of the world. The Bermuda Triangle became a perfect example of how legends can grow over time. Each unexplained event added another layer to the story. Each newspaper article made the mystery larger, and each book or television program introduced the legend to a new generation. Over time, the Bermuda Triangle transformed from a collection of unrelated maritime accidents into one of the most famous mysteries on Earth. But in the modern age, technology has allowed scientists to study the region more closely than ever before. Satellites now monitor weather patterns across the Atlantic in real time. Advanced radar systems track aircraft across the entire region, and modern ships use GPS navigation systems that are far more accurate than traditional compasses. With these tools, researchers have been able to better understand what really happens in the waters of the Bermuda Triangle. And so far, there is no evidence that the area is more dangerous than any other busy part of the ocean. There are no confirmed alien bases, no underwater cities emitting mysterious energy, no portals to other dimensions, just a vast and powerful ocean environment capable of producing extreme weather and unpredictable conditions. But that doesn't mean the mystery has completely disappeared, because the ocean itself remains one of the least explored places on Earth. More than 80% of the world's oceans remain unexplored. Hidden beneath miles of water are mountain ranges larger than anything on land, massive trenches deeper than Mount Everest is tall, and ecosystems that scientists are only beginning to understand. The Atlantic Ocean is filled with powerful natural forces, ocean currents that move entire ecosystems, storm systems capable of reshaping coastlines, and waves powerful enough to destroy ships. When these forces combine, they can create events that appear mysterious, even frightening. But mystery does not always mean the supernatural. Sometimes it simply means we have not yet discovered the full explanation. The Bermuda Triangle reminds us that the world is still full of unanswered questions, and that curiosity is what drives scientific discovery. Every mystery pushes researchers to investigate further, to ask better questions, and to explore parts of our planet that remain unknown. So perhaps the Bermuda Triangle is not a gateway to another world, or a lost civilization hidden beneath the sea. Perhaps it is something even more fascinating, a reminder that nature itself is powerful, unpredictable, and still capable of surprising us. And sometimes, the greatest mysteries are not created by aliens or ancient technology, but by the incredible complexity of the planet we call home. The vast oceans, the changing atmosphere, and the forces of nature that continue to shape our world. The Bermuda Triangle may not be the supernatural puzzle it was once believed to be, but its legend will likely live on for generations, because as long as there are unexplored places on Earth, there will always be mysteries waiting to be uncovered. And here on Science Uncovered, that's exactly what we do. We explore the mysteries, we follow the evidence, and we search for the truth hidden beneath the surface. Because sometimes, the real story is even more fascinating than the myth.